Hello everyone, I'm Hugo.
I'm Jake.
And this is in fact the Bible Reloaded.
Yeah, we did it again.
I should do the rest of the episode with an Australian accent.
Like Adam Reeks.
Adam Reeks.
Adam Reeks Herd Mentality Podcast.
Hello Adam Reeks, this is what you sound like. Okay, sorry everyone.
So where did we leave off last time?
Last time we left off when the Israelites had come close to the land of Canaan, where all the enemies that they're supposed to defeat with the power of the Lord are living.
Yeah, and then Moses is like, hey guys, go check it out. And they're like, alright, Moses, you're the dude to listen to.
Yeah, so he's sending out scouts basically to go look at the land and see what they can see before they go and try and plunder this land that the Lord hath given them.
Yeah, and a little note here. This is officially the end of bullshit laws for just a little bit. We actually get into some nice rich story, so thank you for sticking with us through the bullshit.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, okay. We tried real hard.
So now we begin in chapter 13, verse 16, verse 17. Well, now we gotta do it again.
No, you don't.
Verse 17. I can do that richer. Verse 17. When Moses sent them to explore Canaan, he said, go up through the Negev and on into the hill country. See what the land is like and whether the people who live there are strong or weak, few or many. What kind of land do they live in? Is it good or bad? What kind of towns do they live in? Are they unwalled or fortified? How is the soil? Is it fertile or poor? Are there trees in it or not? How's their day going? Just every fucking question. Does it have trees? Are there trees in the land?
Remember that time we had to count all the trees? This is another one of those times.
Should we get ready to count more trees?
Maybe.
Yeah, there are probably trees there, Moses. It's land and people live there. There are probably trees. Are you sure? It's the desert. The desert still has trees. Are you sure? We've been wandering for a while. Oh, do your best to bring back some fruit of the land. It was the season for the first ripe grapes.
So is it just because of the grapes? You just excited by the grapes?
I enjoy grapes. I enjoy raisins. Because it's the desert. They dry out very easily. It's a portable snack. Gives you lots of energy for walking through the desert with your Jewish friends. Just hanging out with Aaron and Marian. But she has leprosy. Stay 7 steps away from me. Oh, I'm Moses, this is the desert, and that's how this song ends.
That was a pretty good off-the-cuff song.
Yeah, I'm pretty great.
That was wonderful.
Verse 21. So they went up and explored the land from the desert of Zin as far as Rehob, towards the Labo Hamath. They went through the Negev and came to Hebron, where Amihan, Sheshai, and Talmai, the descendants of Anak, lived.
So yeah, we don't need to show you a map. You guys already know where that is.
Yeah. Hebron had been built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. You need to know that.
Naturally.
When they reached the valley of Eshcol, they cut off a branch bearing a single cluster of grapes. 2 of them carried it on a pole between them, along with some pomegranates and figs. That place was called the Valley of Eshcol, because the cluster of grapes the Israelites cut off there.
Eshcol means cluster.
At the end of the 40 days, they returned from exploring the land.
So they just left and got grapes?
Yeah, but also, remember, they got a couple clusters of grapes. They're carrying them between a pole. And also, they returned after 40 days. Remember, though, 40 days does not mean 40 days. It's an idiom meaning a very long time. So they returned maybe after a couple days of scouting. Who knows? Or it didn't happen, whatever.
Probably that part.
Yeah.
Probably that one.
So now the scouts are coming back to Moses, and they're going to report what they have found. You would guess grapes, but they also come back reporting about the people and the lands themselves.
Right, but here's the thing. If any of you have taken Bible study back in the day, this is the part where you get people being like, oh yeah, and they had like giant fruit in the land, and there was they say normal, like there's no giant anything right now.
Yeah.
They came back with normal grapes and normal pomegranates, and
Correct.
What was the other thing? Figs.
Yeah.
Normal figs.
Yeah, I remember back in Bible school when I was still going to a Christian school, they would tell us that when we went over the story, they would tell us the people in the land were giants and they had giant fruit because, of course,
right.
Giants have to eat giant fruit or they just eat a lot of tiny fruit. That doesn't make sense.
But yeah, so we're gonna read this part and then I'll tell you my theory on it when we're done.
Verse 26. Report on the exploration. They came back to Moses and Aaron and the whole Israelite community at Kadesh in the desert of Paran. There they reported to them and to the whole assembly and showed them the fruit of the land. They gave Moses this account. We walked into the land which you sent us, and it does flow with milk and honey. Here is the fruit, but the people who live there are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. We even saw descendants of Anak there. The Amalekites live there in Negev. The Hittites, Jezebites, Amorites live in the hill country, and the Canaanites live near the sea and along the Jordan. Then Caleb silenced the people before Moses and said, "We should go up and take possession of this land, for we can certainly do it."
Murderous bastard.
But the men who had gone up with him said, "We can't attack those people, they are stronger than we are." And they spread among the Israelites a bad report about the land they had explored. They said, "The land we explored devours those living in it. All the people we saw there are of great size. We saw Nephilim there, the descendants of Anak, come from the Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them."
Hey, look at those guys over there.
Oh, yeah. Are you getting a grasshoppery vibe?
What?
So, just look at them, man. I'm just looking at them like, oh, grasshopper.
No, I don't. No, they look pretty. They look like Jews.
Oh, no. Look at them, though.
Yeah, Jews.
It seems like a
They've
hop in the grass.
They have that curly thing going on, too. With the sideburns and the...
No, they're grasshoppers. Dude, I found these mushrooms.
Yeah?
I licked them. Are you getting... Wave your hand in front of your face.
Okay.
Is there like a trail when you do that?
No, it looks like a hand.
I'm trailing hard.
They don't mention in the passage before this that they saw anything. They just say they went, they got some fruit, and they came back. And then when they come back, some guy's like, "Hey, we should go kill everybody that lives there." And they're like, No, we can't. They're giants. They have the giant things. They're probably Nephilim. I don't know what Nephilim are, but they sound big.
Yeah, the implication here is, of course, that it's not really that they're giants. They're spreading a false report to say that they're giants. We shouldn't attack them.
So we don't have to go in there and kill a bunch of people.
Yeah. Which, yeah, it's a lie, but I've heard this interpreted literally that people are like, yeah, there were giants in the land.
No.
Like, no, you clearly didn't read this and think about the context. They're lying. Even within the context of the story, they are lying about it. It's not even us saying, like, hey, this didn't happen, although it probably didn't. It's the fact that in the story, it's spelled out that they are lying about the size of these people and saying that they're the giants from long ago that were mentioned, like, once in Genesis.
Right. And this, to my knowledge, is the only information you get on something like a Nephilim outside of that Genesis verse.
Yeah, and other apocryphal texts that we might get into someday.
Yeah, but a lot of the apocryphal texts were written in medieval times, so they're like Middle Ages, so they're not even during the time when the Old Testament was like contemporary. I don't know, but it's important to know that even within the context of the pages, not giants.
No giants.
Probably just like one tall guy. Like they had one tall friend, and all the other ones were just like extra short, so it looked like giants.
Now we move on to chapter 14, The People Rebel. That night, all the members of the community raised their voices and wept aloud. All the Israelites grumbled against Moses and Aaron, and the whole assembly said to them, "If only we had died in Egypt or in this wilderness. Why is the Lord bringing us to this land only to let us fall by the sword? Our wives and children will be taken as plunder. Wouldn't it be better for us to go back to Egypt?" And they said to each other, "We should choose a leader and go back to Egypt." This is always what they go back to, it seems like the Hebrew nation as they're going around. They always say, we should go back to Egypt. Two problems with this. One, slavery, not the best thing to go back to. Two, I don't think you can go back after a couple years and be like, hey, remember us, guys?
Yeah, we murdered your pharaoh and all your entire army.
All of your chariots, 600 of the good ones, all the rest of the bad ones. We wiped them out. Can we come back to our old...
Also, the kids died. A lot of your kids died.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to survive that.
We know you've continued and you're probably in the Middle Kingdom at this point, but like, can we like move back?
No.
Okay.
Verse
5. Then Moses and Aaron fell face down in front of the whole Israelite assembly gathered there. Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, were there among those who had explored the land, tore their clothes, and said to the entire Israelite assembly, "The land we passed through and explored is exceedingly good. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will lead us into that land, a land flowing with milk and honey, and will give it to us. Only do not rebel against the Lord, and do not be afraid of the people of the land, because we will devour them. Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us. Do not be afraid of them."
Do not be afraid of the people of the land, because we will devour them!
Yes, eat them!
What?
Gonna eat them! Devour them in our mouths!
That's not what I meant, Joe.
Why?
Well, I don't want to eat people at all. I was like more like a... a phrase, like devour them, decimate them. Like decimate just means 1 out of 10, but no, we really want to just destroy them. That's what I mean. Like devour them. Like we'll
eat them.
We'll kill them with our swords.
Want to eat them?
No one wants to eat them.
Swallow it in my mouth.
You want to swallow human beings in your mouth?
Yep, and my butt.
You want to what? You want to swallow them in your butt?
In my mouth.
Then out of your butt?
In my mouth butt.
You have a mouth butt?
I don't see an issue.
I assume milk and honey, like land of milk and honey, is a idiom for something like this. It's a really awesome place.
It's a land full of riches. It's easy to
yeah.
live there and get resources there.
But no, what if it was actually a land of milk and honey? What a terrible place to traverse. It'd be terrible to walk through.
It's so sticky and spoiled. We're in the desert and there's just milk and honey.
Yeah, it's like but it kind of doesn't spoil because it's got honey on it, and honey doesn't spoil, so it's like weird curdled sweet milk. And you're just kind of walking through this mess.
I really don't want this manna. It's been in the in the milk honey.
It sounds fucking horrible.
The honey.
I hope this was a real place. I hope Milk and Honey Place was a real place. That's probably what it was called. Welcome to Milk and Honey Place.
Milk and honey.
Home of the milk and honey.
Verse 10. But the whole assembly talked about stoning them. Then they looked.
Look at those guys kneeling down. We should throw rocks at them until they die.
What if we throw them really hard? Do we have enough rocks? It's the desert. I think we have enough rocks. Are you sure? Are you sure?
If everyone throws them, we could just... I think it'll work.
Are there enough rocks for everyone? Can the children get rocks? Is there a limit to the number of rocks per individual?
Let's do a draft.
Let's do a draft?
Yeah, we'll draft people. We'll pull
How
them.
are we going to do the draft pick? Is it going to be like the person who was worst at stoning last time gets picked first?
2 captains, and then they get to pick.
Oh. That's going to leave out like the gimpy kid.
That's fine. We don't want the kill shot being on the gimpy kid. We want the strongest.
Okay. Then the glory of the Lord appeared at the tent of meeting.
So he dropped his dick on the front of the...
The Lord appeared to the tent of meeting in front of all of the Israelites. The Lord said to Moses, "How long will these people treat me with contempt? How long will they refuse to believe in me in spite of all the signs I have to perform among them?" Seriously, Moses, how many times am I going to have to kill people before they're like, oh shit?
Hopefully no more.
Maybe one more.
Just one?
Probably more than that. Probably a lot more than that.
Why does he sound like Picard?
Picard.
Jean-Luc Picard.
Verse 12. I will strike them down with a plague and destroy them, but I will make you into a nation greater and stronger than they.
That sounds like a pretty sweet deal, God. I take that. And book ends.
The end. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Moses.
Moses said to them, "Then the Egyptians will hear about it. By your power you brought these people up from among them, and they will tell the inhabitants of this land about it. They have already heard that you, the Lord, are with these people, and that you, Lord, have been seen face to face, that your cloud stays over them, and that you are to go before them in a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. If you put all these people to death, leaving none alive, the nations who have heard this report about you will say, 'The Lord was not able to bring these people into the land he promised them on oath, so he slaughtered them in the wilderness.'"
That's a funny end.
So, here's the picture that Moses is painting for God.
Mm-hmm.
The series of events goes as such. God brings Israelites out of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
They disobey him, so he kills some of them.
Right.
He then continues to go with them in the wilderness.
Yep.
They disobey again.
Mm-hmm.
He slaughters every last one of them, including all the witnesses. And then somehow the Canaanites, the Egyptians, the Jebusites, Hittites, all of them, then we'll hear about this somehow and we'll say, he couldn't even get them out of Egypt and then conquer us. What a cunt.
I don't...
And that's it? That's all? Like,
the worst part about it is, it fucking works.
Yeah.
That works against God, omnipotent, omniscient God. He's like, you know what, Moses? I think you're onto something.
I don't want to be mildly shamed by several people who don't know anything about me.
Or matter because I'm God and shouldn't fucking care at all.
God has the sensibilities of a 13-year-old on middle school dance who has a boner. He just, like...
He's embarrassed.
Can't have people notice anything bad about me, so I'll just kind of sit on the wall, but then I'll try and do a line dance, but I don't know how, so I look stupid. How do people learn line dances? I don't know, because if they're all in the line dance, they had to learn individually at some point. Verse 17. Now may the Lord's strength be displayed, just as you have declared. The Lord is slow to anger, abounding in love and forgiveness, sin and rebellion. Yet does he not leave the guilty unpunished? He punishes the children for the sin of the parents to the third and fourth generation. In accordance with your great love, forgive the sin of these people, just as you have pardoned them from time they left Egypt until now. Except for the people you killed a couple chapters ago. You didn't quite pardon them. But, now's now.
Right, we live in the now.
The Lord replied, I have forgiven them as you asked.
I've forgiven them.
Okay.
All right.
Good. Moving on. Nevertheless, as surely I live, and as surely as the glory of the Lord fills the whole earth, not one of those who saw my glory and the signs I performed in Egypt and in the wilderness, but who disobeyed me and tested me 10 times, not one of them will ever see the land I promised on oath to their ancestors.
That's not forgiveness. That's not at all forgiveness.
No.
No, I forgive them, but fuck them.
Yeah. No one who has treated me with contempt will ever see it. But because my servant Caleb has a different spirit and follows me wholeheartedly, I will bring him into the land he went to, and his descendants shall inherit it. Remember that guy we mentioned a couple sentences ago? Yeah, he's good.
I like him.
Not you, though, Moses, for some reason. Even though you said nothing ill against me, just fuck you. Since the Amalekites and the Canaanites are living in these valleys, turn back tomorrow and set out towards the desert along the route to the Red Sea. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, How long will this wicked community grumble against me? I have heard the complaints of these grumbling Israelites, so tell them, As surely as I live, declares the Lord, I will do to you the very thing I heard you say. In this wilderness your bodies will fall. Every one of you, 20 years old or more, who has counted me in the census and who has grumbled against me, not one of you will enter the land I swore with uplifted hand to make your home, except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun.
In between those two paragraphs, he's like, also Joshua.
Yeah.
He's a pretty cool guy.
As for your children that you said would be taken as plunder, I will bring them in to enjoy the land you have rejected. But as for you, your bodies shall fall in this wilderness. Your children will be shepherds here for 40 years, suffering in your unfaithfulness until the last of your bodies lies in the wilderness. For 40 years, 1 year for each of the 40 days you explored the land, you will suffer for your sins, and know what it is like to have me against you. I, the Lord, have spoken, and I will surely do these things to the whole wicked community which has banded together against me. They will meet their end in the wilderness. Here they will die. I slipped kind of Morgan Freeman-y.
Yeah, it got like, obviously you can't do Freeman, but you were trying.
Yeah.
And I'll take it.
Okay.
So God's directly killing these guys, right?
Well, I mean, he's like indirectly of old age directly doing it. Like, hey, you go sit outside while you die and then your kids can come in.
Yeah, that's not forgiveness or omnibenevolence.
No.
How does he get that?
I don't know.
How does he get that rap?
I don't know. Apologists.
Good for them. Way to spin that. That is a hell of a story to spin. Good for you. You're better than Fox News.
So the men Moses had sent to explore the land who returned and made the whole community grumble against him by spreading the bad report about it. These men who were responsible for spreading the bad report about the land were struck down and died of a plague before the Lord. Don't forget, though, I forgive them. You're forgiven! Smite!
Plague. Not even quick death. Some sort of plague.
Just remember, as you die slowly of the leprous skin disease, I forgave you! Of the men who went to explore the land, only Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, survived. When Moses reported this to all the Israelites, they mourned bitterly, as opposed to mourning joyfully. They died, guys! I'm really sad about this. Just gonna hang out and dance, cause they're super dead. Early the next morning, they set out for the highest point in the hill country, saying, Now we are ready to go to the land the Lord had promised. Surely we have sinned.
Now we're ready, after our parents are dead. Hooray!
But Moses said, Why are you disobeying the Lord's command? This will not succeed. Do not go up, because the Lord is not with you. You will be defeated by your enemies. For the Amalekites, the Canaanites will face you there, because they have turned away from the Lord. He will not be with you, and you will fall by the sword. Nevertheless, in their presumption, they went up toward the highest point in the hill country, though neither Moses nor the ark of the Lord's covenant moved from the camp. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites who lived in the hill country came down and attacked them, and beat them down all the way to Hamorah.
Well, yeah, so
that's where that ends. So they're like, we're going to try anyway, even though God said not to, and Moses is like, you shouldn't do that. And they're like, we're going to do it. Seriously, guys, this is going to end badly for you. I know. I've been on Planet of the Apes.
I've read the script. This isn't.
I read the script. Indiana Jones isn't even here, so you can't take the Ark. We're just... And then they got beat back down to their, basically, new front line. So now they're going to wander for 40 years.
That's good.
Die of natural causes.
That sounds ideal.
Yeah. So, that's about it. You can donate if you'd like.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah. You can buy stuff at our merchandise store.
That'd be wonderful too.
Or
because
if you prefer our merch store.
Ooh, it's short. We breathed it.
You can follow us on Twitter at Hugo Reloaded or at Bible Reloaded, but really at Hugo Reloaded
Or Bible Reloaded.
Hugo
Bible.
Reloaded.
Bible Reloaded.
You can follow us on Facebook. We don't do anything on there anymore, but it's a good way to message us, I guess. Or on the YouTube account.
You can text me if you have my number. 6 people who watch this show that have my number.
Yeah. And I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think so.
Next week we're going to get into more stuff that happens to the Hebrews, because that's what we do every week.
Yeah, Hebrew stuff with Jake and Hugo. We should change the title of the show to Hebrew stuff with Jake and Hugo.
Then we'd have to get a new theme song. I don't think I'd like that. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm Hugo.
I'm Jake.
This has been The Bible Reloaded. Next week we hunt for the Great White!